And welcome to This Is Why We Fight. I'm Joe.
And I'm Jordan. I hope you're all
Hello.
well.
Hello. I don't know why I did it in a stupid accent. Hi, everyone.
Like I was joined by a leprechaun.
Well, if you're going to start on how short I am, don't even. Sir Francis was first this evening. Well done, Sir Francis. Woo! English Will is here. Good evening to you. Xanth is here. Good evening to you. My stepdad's not mean. Oh, I'm Joby one tonight, and you're Jordu T2. D2, even. Push my teeth back in there. Sorry about that. Hey, this is always fun here. Green Dragon is here. Good evening to you. Good evening, Philomena. Okay, so we've got a great show tonight. As is always our thing, we're going to really focus on the positives. But tonight we're going to put you to work. Oh, yes, we are. How are we going to do that, Jordan?
We're going to make them busy. Like busy little bees.
I knew you were going to mention the bee.
Hey, look, it's been 2 minutes.
He's dropping a massive hint and no one's mentioned the bee. Come on, people.
Not only is the bee back, but the bee he's got a hat. He's got a very nice hat as well. Look at that. He's covering one eye. He's having to pull it up so he can see.
Good evening, Andrew. English Will's just laughing at you. Possibly crying. It's so beautiful. Yeah, there you go. Philomena, beautiful. Yes. Jordan, as always, has worked very, very hard on the background. We hope you all enjoy it.
I did mean to change the font at the bottom, but I forgot.
It's little.
Such is life.
It's little bee claws ushering in Christmas. Not quite there yet. Not quite there yet. Santy Bee.
Santy Bee. That is indeed his name.
Wow.
He's riding on Sandy Bee Lane.
Wow. I don't know if you could be any more sad right now.
Right, look, shut up. I love him.
Santy Bee. What are you, 12?
There's this wonderful little story that I've got going on in my head. Because it is now the end part of November, the second half of November, the bee is now pulling in Christmas.
Yes.
That's what he's doing. Oh, Will, 100%. Slight cold. He's been here all week. It's been a pain in the backside. It's still not going anywhere.
Such a baby, let me tell you. Good evening.
One minute. I've been a baby. Look at you whenever you have a cold. You're like,
oh, come on. I don't do the man flu thing. I don't say I'm dying.
To be fair, at what stage have I done the man flu thing?
I've
been bloody busy all week.
You haven't, but you just accused me of doing it.
What do you mean I haven't been busy all week? It was all blasphemy. This is slander.
Do you know what? This is the two Ronnies conversation where they talk about the thing that happened before. I can't keep up on it at all. Can we also say good evening to Tom? Good evening, Tom. Thank you for joining us. Evidence violates community guidelines. Welcome back. Good evening to you. Yeah, sniffles. Oh, poor baby. Andrew and Jonathan and Philomena and I have been listening to him whine and moan about his cold. No, I'm joking. He's been a brave little soldier.
I have been very, very busy.
Yes, Jordan does have a wonderful story going on in his head, and it's nothing to do with the bee. Jordan lives in his own little world, I'm beginning to suspect.
It's the best place to be.
Yeah. Good evening, Roy. Good evening. Reboot needed. There you go. See, is it man flu or the vid? Good evening, Boudica. Right, let's make sure we've covered everyone. Good evening, Will, free gamer. I think, is that everyone? Boudica, I think that is. I mentioned Boudica. Proving once again you don't listen to me.
Fair enough. Maybe I don't. I don't know. You say a lot of stuff, don't you? Anyway, we are going somewhere with this evening stream.
What are you trying to say?
I'm trying to say we're going somewhere with this evening stream, Joe. Will we not?
Thank you, Arthur. That's very kind of you. And welcome to the stream. Very good to see you this evening. Okay. Right. That is everyone. So, yes, we are going somewhere with the purpose of tonight's stream. So, Jordan, do you want to lay out what we were hoping to achieve this evening?
Freedom.
We always want freedom, but
Yes, but the
specifically,
all-encompassing idea of freedom, and specifically how we can all grow individual backbones and start manifesting freedom in our reality. So,
okay.
everybody, go drink some milk. You're going to need some calcium for this backbone going.
A last good evening to Michael. Thank you for joining us, Michael. Right. I think I'm just going to say it. Everyone important is already here. Let's carry on. The early bird catches the worm. In this case, the worm is called freedom. Okay. When we talk about manifesting freedom, what we're talking about is it's not enough to want it, to hope for it, to pray for it, if that's what you want to do. It's not enough to wish for it. We have to make it real. We have always tried to deliver our shows on the basis of reality. And we have always tried to secure ourselves in reality. We're not in the business of buying into other people's delusions, and we're not in the business of denying reality because someone might be offended by it. So if we're talking about reality, what is freedom? What do you think freedom is? And more importantly, do you think you have it in any way, shape, or form? Should we start with that? What is freedom? What would freedom allow you to do? What would freedom allow you to do, Jordan? What would you be doing right now if none of this was happening? If you were a truly free man living in a free nation, what would you be doing right now?
I would not be working out ways to pay my car tax.
Very true.
There you go. That's one thing. That's what I need to do, because they sent me a letter about not paying it. So, oh, you ain't sent me a letter before. I don't know what the issue is.
Jean-Paul, no, this
No.
is not a recording. Welcome to the show. Very good to have you here. Okay, you won't be paying your car tax. Well, technically, you would not be paying any tax, right?
Indeed, because all of it is immoral.
Why we think tax is an immoral principle is simply this. There's no choice. Even if you wanted to pay it, you don't have any say in where it's spent, who it's spent on, what it's used for. But the reason why we say immoral is because it is taken from you by force at point of threat. That threat could be a fine, it could be imprisonment. It is immoral because of that
Seizure
reason.
of property. Theft, basically. This is what it always boils down to. It's theft.
Yeah, taxation is theft. Yes.
I must admit, I am quite taken by Passio's take on everything basically boiling down to theft. It's like, don't steal from people. That's pretty much the one true golden rule. Don't steal from people and everything else is good, because you're either stealing property, i.e. finances, or you're stealing somebody's safety or
health.
personal well-being. So
or health.
There you go. That's a better way of wording it. Because, if you're killing someone, at the end of the day, you're stealing their life.
Well, that's a really good way to look at it. I mean, we've often described an ethical principle of freedom as to live as you wish without doing any harm. But without stealing covers all of those things. You're either taking someone's life, their health, or their property, as you said. But by the same token, if you want to live as though you have no right to take those things from others, you also then would have the same freedom to not have people take those things from you. It's about not interfering with others and not being interfered with. I think the more common phrasing is unmolested, which I'm sure we're all familiar with. You hear that in legal documents and in legal speak. The ability to live unmolested. And we're not, and it's been sort of corrupted in a way to mean unmolested by other individuals. But certainly corporations, organizations, and dare I say governments can also molest you. When they take from you by force, is that not molestation?
Mm-hmm.
So, yes. I just want to read a few comments before we start with the questions. We're really going to make you work for this evening, because we want to know what your thoughts are on freedom and what you would be doing if you were truly free. So let's go through a few comments. This is interesting. Jean-Paul says, I come from another place of perspective. I am listening and observing. You are free to do so. And yes, enjoy. Boudica, back to listening and my loom. Boudica is obsessed with this loom, everyone. So she's been working like a mad woman. I suspect there's going to be a lot of goods, hell of a lot of goods available for your pleasure.
We're going to show
Coming
it
up
off a little
very
later
soon.
on.
Yeah, we are. She's so amazing. Right. Reboot suggests that freedom suggests. No, this is true. Freedom is the ability to criticize something without being arrested. Yes, it is. Obviously, we could go a lot further, but that's a valid point. Tom has kind of nutshelled what we've said. Freedoms can be described two ways: freedom to do something or freedom from something. Indeed.
This is an interesting thing because you and I was having this, not even disagreement, but we was running into this problem earlier on when talking about this. We were using the word freedom to describe two different things. You was using it in the sense of the freedom to do something, and I was using it in the sense of the freedom from something.
Yes, but it's still freedom. It's still. I think if you could exchange the word freedom for the word choice or free choice, do people have the right to live near another people? Yes. Do the people that have just had someone move in have the right not to be near those people? Yes. This is what we talk about when your actions impact others. That's where your freedom ends. So I can't choose to go. I could go and live in the house next door to Jordan and be horrible to him or nice to him. He could choose not to live next door to me. He has two choices. He either makes life so miserable that I move or he leaves. But we still have choices. You should have the choice to choose who you live with. You should have the choice to choose when you work, where you work, how you work.
How is the most important thing, I think, because we live in we've said this before, we live in a warped society, an extremely sick society where you're forced into going to work because you have to pay for certain things and there's no escaping paying those things. So, for example, council tax. Have to pay council tax. God forbid if you don't. And in order to pay that, you need to go and make money. Well, by the time you're spending time away from home making money, you're then screwed because you're not able to spend time doing things like tending your garden or raising children and various other things. So suddenly you have to start paying other people to do those services for you.
Yes. And at the end of the day, how many people would work? And when I say work, I mean be employed by someone else. If these arbitrary rules didn't exist, paying taxes, for instance.
Oh,
If you
definitely.
work,
Look at accounting. Almost the entirety of accounting, the entire industry, is how we can file our taxes in the most efficient way possible.
yes.
You do away with taxes, that entire thing goes away because suddenly the only thing that matters is the bank balance at the end of the month.
Yeah.
Nothing else matters.
Being able to work out how much money you've made and how much money you've spent.
Exactly.
That's it. Evidence violates community standard guidelines. Sorry, I'm just making up words now. Says thou shalt not live in a non-Western manner in the West. Well, this is again about culture. We often return to culture. This is not to say that other cultures are necessarily hateful or inferior, but our culture is ours. We care very deeply about it. We want to preserve it. That should be the same for every person. But when your culture starts to clash with my culture, we're going to have a problem. I don't know that necessarily two opposing cultures can coexist. I think there is a reason why people have always chosen their own groups very specifically, because the more you have in common, the easier it is for you all to get along. I think that's common sense. That's nothing to do with an ism or name calling or division. It's nothing to do with hate or anything else. It's to do with this is the most common sense position to hold.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm going to be spending an awful amount of time with people that I primarily agree with on the most fundamental important things in life, life is going to be easier for all of us. If you're constantly disagreeing and arguing, well, I don't know. I think happy equals healthy. I think unhappy people are by default unhealthy, whether it's emotional health or physical health.
Which is
And
probably why you see so much sickness these days.
yeah, and I think emotional health has a direct impact on physical health.
Mm-hmm.
So we're not happy people because we've had all these things thrust upon us, things we didn't ask for, we didn't agree to, that we have been told. Not only must we tolerate, but must welcome, celebrate even, things that we fundamentally disagree with. Again, if you were a truly free person, would this be foisted upon you? Would you have the right to say, I don't want it? Would it happen in the first place? I don't think it would. But the point is, you would have choices. You would have choices with no punishment, with no consequences, because you either choose to stay there and deal with it, or you move away, or they move away. It comes back to choice. If somebody is free to be horrible towards you or hateful towards you, to put you down, to cast aspersions on your name, to lie about you, shouldn't you be equally free to say, I'm not having this, to counter it, to challenge it? Freedom for some, but not others. And even the freedom for some comes with conditions. And when we're talking about freedom, by default, it's unconditional. Your freedom is your freedom is your freedom. You place conditions on it, it's no longer freedom in any way that we understand the word. Good evening to Jonathan. I'll add you to the important people, but only because we've got a special announcement coming up later. Tom says, show me on the dole where the government touched you. That's actually a really clever comment, because let's think of the ways you live today where the government doesn't have an impact. You might go about your business not really thinking about the government, but everything we do has been decided by them.
But the weird thing is, in personal interactions, like the day-to-day living, that it has nothing to do with anybody.
Yeah.
Like this stream here, for example, it's nowhere to be seen. Yet it sits over us constantly because we have things like the YouTube censorship going on. It's once again, it's other people using the government and the threat of government in order to instill within us all that we must adhere to their worldview. This is that worldview violence article that I wrote a couple of weeks ago, and that Mark Passio has done a fantastic video on. I'd highly recommend. I want to get this concept of worldview violence out into the world. I want more people to take it on board and to start using it and understand it.
Are we saying that words are violence?
No.
Good, because I'm not comfortable with that.
No. First off, 1 minute. Why don't you read my flipping article? Jesus Christ.
I'm not talking about the article. I'm talking about what you just said.
And what I just said was in the article. God dang it. Don't make a sick man angry. It won't work well for you. I'll sneeze on you.
Here we go. Smallest violin in the world.
Don't make me laugh.
Can I quickly interrupt with an important message from Xanth? Great result for Kyle. Something good happening for once. We wanted to briefly cover this because this shouldn't be headline news. The fact that it says everything about how broken a society we have become. The fact that an innocent man is going about his business, going about the business of defending himself, as is his right, then being arrested, taken to court, and having to sit through lies and slander, then having to wait for a jury of his peers to pronounce him innocent, as he already was, is the sign of a sick society. This should have been non-newsworthy. This should have been normal. What are your thoughts, Jordan?
I agree. I didn't really follow it terribly closely anyway, but it never rang true. Because there were just pictures and videos of the guy walking around with the gun. And then they're saying he went out and murdered somebody, and it just didn't ring true in the slightest. Even though I didn't actually see the shooting itself until quite a while after, many months after he was initially arrested. It didn't sound right. It didn't pass the sniff test, as it were.
Well, even using the word murder is a little bit of a nudge, isn't it? Because he killed someone in self-defense. He killed someone defending himself. That person's intent was to murder him,
Exactly.
but that's
And
never
then
mentioned.
the excuse that one of them came out with, one of the guys he shot came out with, we was trying to shoot him so he wouldn't shoot someone else. It's like, what? That's not how it works.
Yeah,
Somebody just walking around is not looking likely to shoot anyone, is not pointing the gun at anyone, probably not going to start pointing it at somebody unless you're crazy, like you clearly were, and you came out on the other end and you don't like it.
but this is the media again trying to make this association. If someone's walking around with a gun, they are by default looking to murder someone.
Exactly.
This is an attack on people's ability to arm themselves. And again, they're trying to normalize the abnormal.
They're also, well, I've just had this thought and I'm trying to work out how to put this out. They're trying to normalise this idea that crime doesn't happen, that you have no reason to defend yourself or worry about anything like that. They're basically trying to get you to believe a lie.
Yes.
It's ironically saying we could have believed like 100 odd years ago, but not today. And to be honest with you, I think even 100 odd years ago, people wouldn't have believed it.
But going back to the original point, crime does happen. It happens to you every day. It is the stealth tax. It is the stealing of your life, liberty, and bodily autonomy. It happens daily. And the fact that these same people that want to convince you that crime doesn't happen commit crimes against you every opportunity they get is one of life's ironies. It's really important, though, that we start understanding this. It's not enough to say, I wish this didn't happen. We have to live in such a way as it can no longer happen. Good evening, Blood and Braces, sir. Thank you for joining us.
Ooh, don't do my voice thing. That's my thing.
I wasn't doing your voice. I was just being calm. I'm doing my radio voice now.
No, that's not a late night DJ voice. That's the condescending receptionist voice.
Wow. Wow. See the abuse I take just to bring this show to you. This is how much I care. But I put up with all this abuse.
I'm just amazed that you managed to press the start button.
Wow.
And I'll not mute yourself. To be honest, that was quite impressive.
Do you know what? This is my second professional intro in a row. I take umbrage at your accusation. Only I get to call myself a tech boomer. Damn it. There you go. Fearless Bear appreciates your fancy Christmas background. It's not even the Christmas
very nice to
one.
say about the bee.
It's not even the Christmas one. That's a lovely compliment.
The Christmas one is coming up. Don't you worry about it. This is merely the introduction to Christmas. This is the warm-up stage.
Yes, we are secretly being paid by the beekeepers of the world to promote love for bees. That's what's going on here. We're on commission. Every time someone says bee, we get paid in honey. That's what's going on.
Beekeepers of the world unite.
Yes, seriously. The communist beekeepers. Or, fly or whatever. Sir Francis says, snow and a bee, what more do you want? Exactly. Right, so Boudica says, gardening and growing, being with home and family, interacting within a small community that does what it needs to do without outside influence. There you go. She ran out of characters. Come on, Restream, step up here. Without outside influence. That's all people. This is the big difference between the sort of globalists and us. The anarchists. We've covered this before. We'll cover it in more depth. In case anyone's unsure what we mean by that. We want to be left alone. That's it. That's it. We don't want to. We're not like the other side where, well, first of all, if they asked to be left alone, hell, we'd all do it, right? Because they're all weird and degenerate. We want to be left alone. That's it. We don't want to interfere with you. You can have society. It's broken and corrupt and dirty. Have it. It's all yours. We want to be left alone. We want to be left alone to raise our children to be happy and healthy and wholesome. We want to be left alone to engage in our hobbies, to do the work that we want to do, to live as we want to live, with people who we want to live with. That's it. We can be happy and safe and prosperous without any government or outside interference if we would just be left alone to get on with it. We don't need their consent or their permission or their money or their interference. We don't need it. And I think deep down, there is a core of strength in all of us. It's just that we haven't tapped into it for such a long time. I think many of us have forgotten it exists.
The irony is, the best way to get this is to start being a little bit forceful about it. Just across the board, with so many people, myself included, we take the easy route. You know, we aren't disagreeable enough, and we need to start being much, much, much more disagreeable with people. So what you are saying is objectively wrong. No, I'm not just going to let it slide by because it creates an easy life for me. So you need to be pulled up on this. We don't need to go about it in nasty ways by any means, but we do need to be more assertive in our views.
We do. I mean, you know, we've covered this before, this sort of governing by consent, policing by consent. Our silence is our consent as far as they're concerned, because we like the easy life, because we like the path of least resistance, because we are so bogged down with all of the other problems we have to contend with. We tend to let things go because we don't want to cause a fuss. We don't want to be a burden. Well, it's time we started being a burden. It's time we started causing a fuss. The things that you believe in are worth fighting for.
The thing is, a lot of people on our side of things, on the freedom side of things, don't like to make a fuss. That's just because of who we are as people. We typically don't like to make a fuss.
Because we believe in personal responsibility. We understand that we are responsible for our own behaviour.
Indeed, but it's also because of that fear isn't the right word, but that discomfort of suddenly being the outsider. We need to turn the tables on these people. Actually grasp it confidently, say, no, we are the reasonable people here. You are the insane people, and I'm going to tell you exactly why you're bloody insane. Yes. I'm not the odd one for recognizing that you live on a plane so far from reality, it is making everything infinitely worse. Yes. You're the person in the wrong here, not me.
We are normal. We're normal. You're the aberration. Or what's your new favourite word? The abnormies.
I do like the abnormies. Abnormies is a wonderful term. How did that even come about?
We were talking about abnormal, weren't we? The abnormal section of society that goes along with anything they're told, that has sacrificed their ethics and principles for a bit of safety and security.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, you know, there's nothing wrong with us. They're the ones that are abnormal. You said, oh, abnormies. And that's how it came about. So there you go. A couple of comments I would like to cover, please.
By all means, finally.
Roy says, freedom is the power to delegate authority to others when necessary and to remove that authority when necessary. Correct?
No, I disagree. You can't delegate freedom.
No, to delegate authority. For instance,
if you had authority is immoral.
No, of course you can if you choose it. Let me give you an example. If you have a community and you select someone to be a spokesperson to liaise with, to barter or trade with another community, you are delegating authority to that person to speak on behalf of the whole community. But you are giving them that authority, or rather lending it to them for that one purpose. Well, I don't know.
Exactly. It's worked real bad. Because let's be honest about this. We started with that a couple of thousand years ago, and then suddenly we have this. But if you're please in order to go buy an egg.
But if you're talking about a community choosing someone to speak on their behalf, Otherwise, the entire community has to march over to the next one and all speak at once. I think if you are lending authority for one purpose, one time, it is a good question though. Could that end in tears? I mean, ultimately, anyone with authority over anyone else has the ability to abuse it.
I have this extreme aversion to authority of it in any capacity. I don't like it.
And Hasdak mentioned something. I don't know anything about this Hasdak, so I'm genuinely reading this from the perspective of I don't know. Doesn't Section 13A help stop paying council tax? There's lots of people using it apparently. I don't know. Does anyone know anything about this?
Not a clue. My opinion on all of this, including common law, this may be something to do with common law, is that it's perfectly fine until one day they decide that it isn't. In which case, it's not going to do anything.
The trouble with any so-called safety net is if they were truly safe, we'd still have them.
Exactly. Like that's always my issue with it. It's like just because it's not legal, and they are completely correct, it isn't legal. Doesn't matter. They make the laws. They can say, no, it is. Tough.
And my stepdad's not mean says anyone who consents to forced treatments of any kind for those that they disagree with consents to the same for themselves. This is something I've tried and failed, as I'm sure many of you have, in various conversations to get through to people. When you advocate for someone to lose their right to choose, whatever it may be, you are setting yourself up for the same rights to be denied you in the future. Just because you're picking on a group that you're not a part of right now, it will go full tilt. It will go all the way round and come back to you. When you consent to unethical practices for anyone else, they can be used against you. And this is why I've been very cautious over the last few years. I want to quickly talk about immigration because it's a fundamental importance to an island nation like we are. When people are talking about not immigration necessarily, but immigration as a whole. When we talk about, for instance, capital punishment for certain crimes, we always look at this in the sense of it's outsiders, right? So, for instance, hanging or the electric chair or whatever for murder. In theory, it sounds all very proper, but when you think about, hang on a second, who decides who is guilty? That's the first step. How do they decide it? Well, they use things like DNA and various other bits of evidence, CCTV and whatnot now. Who controls the results? Who reveals the results of things like DNA evidence? Who analyzes it? And who translates it into something that a jury, for instance, could understand? When we advocate for things that you can't take back, things that you can't undo, you've got a wealth of steps between you and the truth. So somebody gets killed by the state for committing a serious crime. Were they guilty? You've been told they were, but were they? And this comes back to who is in control. If you're going to advocate for that to happen to someone else, then surely you can't complain when it happens to you. And that's not to say that the guilty shouldn't be punished, but we're so far removed now from the principal evidence gathering that we don't actually know who's guilty of what. Because we just aren't there.
It's interesting. You see this played out in a slightly different sphere. Pretty much every time the government changes, the outgoing government is always blamed by the opposition for being this, that, and the other. And they complain about all the powers that they took and blah, 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 blah. And then they become the powerful ones. And suddenly it's the opposition who suddenly doesn't like it. It's the original ruling party who doesn't like the shoe being on the other foot.
Until they do.
Exactly. I didn't word that very well.
And then they're silent. And then they're silent, aren't they?
Exactly. That's what I was getting at. Thank you for clearing that absolutely horrific sentence up for me, Joe.
Do you want to know how much of a genius I am? I actually was reading the comments and I didn't hear anything you said.
See, that's even better. This is how you
Except
know
the
I was just
last part.
spouting complete rubbish. I
But
knew
I got the
exactly
gist
what I
of it
meant. It
anyway.
just came out horrifically. I apologise for anybody who had to listen to that. Yeah, awfulness.
Here's a comment for you, Jordan. I want to see what your take is on this. So Jean-Baptiste says, oh, your name has changed. Okay. The system is our mirror. On another angle of it all, have we not lied, cheated, and dishonoured ourselves, each other? We made this world.
Exactly. Very well said. At the end of the day, society is just a reflection of ourselves.
We did make this world, but we didn't create this system. So I will challenge you on that one aspect. But I do agree that maybe we didn't design it to be this way, but we have certainly allowed others to make it so. It's now time that we stood up for what we believe in, stood up for our principles.
Yeah, we've allowed it to happen through weakness because we didn't stand up in the first place and say, no, this isn't right. Or no,
Exactly.
you're delusional. No, this or no, that. Or this is how reality is. At the end of the day, a lot of people, you see it constantly at the moment, a lot of people take the easy route. They bow down to other people's worldview because it's easier than simply making them face reality. The reality is things are not right. Things are not normal. Things are not good. Anyone who pretends otherwise, they're either mentally ill or they're incredibly, incredibly weak-willed.
And it's very easy to play the blame game, and that's not what we're about. We cannot blame people in the past for doing as little as we are doing now. Regardless of who was alive when this all began, however many hundreds or thousands, as we know it to be, years ago this started, this agenda began, the reality is it only stops when we say stop, right? Mm-hmm. It could have stopped at any time. And every generation before has a duty to the generation that follows. We inherit what they leave us with. I want people to really think now, what are our children going to inherit if we also do nothing, change nothing, stop nothing? We've got to start taking responsibility. Yes, those of us alive now didn't create this system. We didn't create this society. We didn't put into place the machinery to create this awful existence we have now. But we are living within it, and we are accepting it every day that we do not stand against it. We are responsible for making it stop, as has every generation before us been. Let's make sure we don't get through another generation before something changes. So going back to the question, what would you be doing right now if you were truly free?
What would you be doing, Joe?
If I were truly free and I'd been brought up properly by proper parents, sorry, mum and dad, but whatever, brought up properly, traditionally, as my people always have, I would probably, right now, be sitting by the fire with my children, with a hot cup of cocoa, knitting something, having not a care in the world except what I'm going to teach them tomorrow morning and which meal I'm going to prepare. It would be a very simple, unexciting, but ultimately satisfying life. Calm, filled with beauty. I would be able to focus on the really important things in life. Are my children happy? Are they healthy? Am I happy? Am I healthy? Do I feel safe? Do I feel secure? Those are the things that are important to me. How do you like that for an answer?
That was better than I expected.
There you go.
I was going to have a go at you and say no, live in the reality that we currently have. But that was pretty enough. You painted a nice picture.
And that's what we want you all to do. We want you all to start visualizing your freedom.
I stand by this fact that they've spent so much bloody money researching this. They have spent millions upon millions upon millions, if not hundreds of millions of pounds at this rate, studying athletes and seeing how important visualization is to them. as far as I'm aware, every study has come back conclusively proving that it is a major component of athletic performance.
Yeah.
If it goes to say that it affects somebody hitting a ball, why doesn't it play more of a role in our everyday lives? Like, if you work in sales, for example, you must surely do the same thing. You visualize the phone calls. If you work in engineering, you plan it out in your head. You make it and then you do it. Why do we not think it has an effect on society at large? If we start imagining it and we then start actively taking steps towards it, that will have an effect eventually.
Yes. And we are all affected by external forces, whether we want to admit that or not. So it depends on the forces you surround yourself with. I want to be affected primarily by the natural. I'm not just talking about nature here specifically. Things that aren't manipulated, coerced, or artificial. I want to come to conclusions naturally and in my own time about things that I'm learning. I want to know that what I'm learning is true and real and based on reality, not my reality, but just reality, the reality that we all share, even though some of us are quite delusional. And I want the freedom, the time, and the peace to enjoy the things I love, whether that's spending time with my family or partaking of a hobby, creating something, baking something, building something. All of these things we would do as free people. We would, or at least we would have the choice. We don't have those choices. How many of you in this chat are wage slaves right now? You can be honest, and no one's going to ask you to name your company or anything like that. But how many of you are still in this paradigm of having to work to pay bills that are immoral and also having to pay people to do things you don't have time to do? I'm guessing it's a lot. And for everyone else, you are stuck in a trap of the government has made it so untenable for you to work that you now have to rely on the government for a handout. And now they control you because it's all about leverage, isn't it? Everything we do has a cost in this current system. You speak out, you risk the consequences. You go to work, you lose something of much more value. You become obsessed with this desire for money because everything costs money. Why does it cost money? Because the society is built that way. None of us would need a single penny or cent or name your currency if we could produce everything we needed. Wouldn't need any. We would probably exchange or barter everything we need. And those things that do cost money, we would do without. We've been convinced we need things we don't need. We've been convinced we must earn money we shouldn't need to earn to pay bills that are immoral, like council tax, like road tax, like licenses to go fishing, licenses to hunt. Everything you
Licenses to
do is
go
controlled.
fishing. Right, licenses to go fishing for an invasive species. That's the one that blows me the hell away. Like, what is happening there? That's so stupid.
Exactly. I mean, you can't even ethically cull an invasive species without government permission. And what does that license give you permission to do? To just hunt with no conditions? No. It has a finite expiry on it. So you pay for it. You can only hunt between certain times for a certain duration. It's all about control. Just a quick hello to Colin. Good evening to you. A bit behind on the chat, as always.
I don't know what to say. It was about half an hour ago.
Yeah, whatever.
I love how at the beginning of this you said, right, don't interrupt me too much tonight when reading comments. I want to try and keep up with the chat. How's that going, Joe?
It's going great.
Really? It's going great like Tony the Tiger. Let's try a little harder.
Yeah, sorry everyone. I'm trying to catch up.
Speed up. Come on, get going. Get reading.
I'm trying. Here we go. Look, I just got back to your normies comment. Oh God, I've got so much catching up to do.
This is ridiculous.
I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. So yes, so back to the question. back to the question. What would you be doing right now if you were free? What would you be focused on if you were free? I don't know what this was in relation to, but thank you, Roy. Jordan, stop being gay.
That was when I disagreed about the all funny thing.
Right.
I don't like it. I hate it.
I do agree with this follow-on comment from Roy. So the power to remove the court's authority is the root of your freedom. Power is freedom, freedom is power. That second part,
No, but
definitely.
you've given away your freedom in the first place by having courts.
Yes, but the point I'm making is freedom is power. The power to control to control your own behavior, the power to take control of your life. That is freedom. Freedom is power in that respect. And when you don't have freedom, you have given your power away to others, to people who don't deserve it, have done nothing to earn it, and ultimately don't answer to you. This is a really good comment. Don't really want to focus on the justice angle, although I'm quite a way behind now. What happens if anyone who has a lower morality is in charge of the laws? Would that not distort the justice of it all? Absolutely. And it has already. The people who dictate our so-called laws and morality have none. Right, I'm catching up. Keep talking. Don't sit here in silence.
I'm just enjoying you, taking your time.
This is so good.
And I are having a great laugh between each other. It would take you a while to get there.
There you go. Look, superpower. I like that. Thank you, evidence. No one's ever accused me of having a superpower before. I thought my superpower was the ability to talk incessantly.
It feels it sometimes.
No, don't even start. Will says, the sad part is we can't stop this without hardening our hearts. Our parents wanted to fix things painlessly, and I don't blame them. I do agree with that. Again,
you and I were disagreeing on a lot to this. It's unusual. I don't know if hardening our hearts is entirely the right thing.
I think with the respect that we can't save everyone, and we can't keep being soft. We can't look. We have a reputation, us Europeans, for wanting things to be just and fair. Yes. Now that in and of itself is perfectly fine. That's how it should be. How many times though have we taken this to such a degree where it's harmed us to help someone else? I suspect that's what Will is saying. Will, you can clarify if it's not. Our parents wanted to fix things painlessly. I will say again, blaming generations in the past that did not have access to the information we have is also a little unfair. That's not to say they shouldn't have done something, but we can sit here and play the blame game all night. It's men's fault, it's women's fault, it's children's fault, it's grandparents' fault. They didn't do this group didn't do that. We can argue about it until the noose is around our neck, until they string us up or lock us down or lock us out. But at the end of the day, none of it matters.
Xantha said hardening our resolve, and I think that's much better.
Yes.
That's what we need to... This comes down to the spine thing earlier on. It is our own internal fortitude to stand and say no. No is a really, really powerful word, and we need to start using it more. Just straight up no. Just like, no, you're not good at this.
You use it a lot.
I hardly ever use it. Just say no. This you're not basing yourself in reality at the moment. You're off in la la land. Come back when you come back when you want to join us. Normal people.
Yes, this again, we keep talking about mindsets. To truly understand where we're at, we need to change our mindset. We are normal. Everything we're concerned about is normal. It's normal behavior. It's a normal reaction. Are you stressed, anxious, demoralized by what's going on? Perfectly normal reaction. Something is terribly wrong and we recognize it. That's normal. People who are going through life right now with everything that's going on going, la, 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 I'm okay. Abnormal. It's not a normal reaction. It's a reaction of someone with deep-rooted problems where they're in denial. Stockholm syndrome, whatever you want to call it, it's abnormal. We understand there are problems. We understand these problems need solutions. We are trying to work the solution. Perfectly normal. Perfectly normal. What is abnormal for us as a people, historically, is to bury our heads in the sand and say someone else is going to fix it for us. It's never, ever going to happen. And the sooner we come to that conclusion, the better. Because this is not a case of a few good people will stand up and save everyone. Not going to happen. It needs all of the people to stand up and save themselves. My step does not mean the first person, unless I've missed anyone, to actually answer the question. I probably get into producing music and writing a bit more. I sincerely hope you do that anyway. And again, as always, if you do produce anything and you want to share it with us, how you could write a theme tune for the stream, just saying we'd be very pleased.
What was wrong with my test theme tune earlier on, Joe?
He could write a jingle for us.
What was wrong with my test theme tune earlier on, Joe?
It was terrible.
What do you mean it was terrible? It was glorious. Don't insult me just because my singing voice was broken by this sickness.
Because it's so great otherwise?
Here comes Santy B, here comes Santy B, right down Santy B Lane.
Oh my
Vixen
God.
and Don't interrupt me, goddammit!
Sorry, carry on.
Vixen and... What the flipping heck did I say? Buzzer, wasn't it? Vixen and Buzzer and all his rent is pulling on the right. Voice gone. Butts are stinging, children singing, all is merry and bright. Stung and bright, goddammit, Jordan. And then I couldn't work out the next bit, but it was wonderful because it ended with, so hang your stockings and say your prayers, because this is why we fight. It was wonderful. But I just needed to replace stockings and my voice didn't need to give out, as it did.
That was amazing. You should release it as a single. I hope someone clips that. That was amazing.
Just let me do it when I'm normal again, please. Flipping heck. Nut King Cole singing, if only.
I don't like that. Nut King Cole.
Yes. Carry on.
Reboot needed is taking the mic. He's taking the Michael, I suspect. Don't bother reading this out, Joe. I wrote it 10 minutes ago.
When was it?
Timestamp. Hang on, let me come off it and I'll tell you. All right, you know what? No, I'm not having this because you only wrote that 7 minutes ago. So I'm not having it.
Do you know, I'm amazed you're within 7 minutes. You've really sped up tonight. Well done, Joe.
I have. Thank you. Good evening, Romewood, who says, I would build a self-sustaining home using well water and solar energy.
Oh, heck yeah, now we're talking. That's the dream for me.
I wonder how many of us would build our own homes rather than...
Okay, well, I have an answer. I finally have an answer to what I would do.
Oh, go on.
I would have a nice farm. And I would have a nice big workshop where I would be able to do all my nice normal things like welding and engineering in some capacity, just making random things. And I would also have a server room. Because that sounds cool as hell. Probably completely unnecessary. Although, to be fair, you and I share enough bloody documents and they get lost constantly. It would be amazing to have that.
That's true. We are a font of information. We have come up with so many ideas and suggestions. Some we've implemented, some others have beaten us to it. But we have just pages and pages of well over, I would say, a year and a half's worth of ideas for solutions for this problem. If we were to have a stream and outline all of them, it would take about 5 hours. So yeah, we could definitely use that. Lewis Jones, good evening, Lewis, says, would there ever be a law explicitly giving us the right to defend ourselves? I would say under the current system, no, not ever. We would move so far away from that as to be absurd.
This is what's so incredibly frustrating, because we don't actually need laws to explicitly say that, because it is reality. We have that right.
It is an inherent right that,
exactly.
that you don't interfere with people, they don't interfere with you.
Exactly. It is never immoral to defend yourself for any living animal at all, of any description. Any living animal that defends itself completely within its rights.
Well, if you think about it that way, yes, we are the only species on the planet that has rules imposed upon it.
Yes. Everything else is allowed to live as it wants.
And just a reminder, in case anyone missed the memo, the people imposing these rules do not follow them themselves. Do as I say, not as I do. And we've seen this with the masks, for instance. Video after video of these people imposing masks on us, not wearing them themselves.
That comes down to the worldview violence thing. What?
Sorry, I've just seen this from Johnny Not Pal. I don't normally brag. Go on, sorry.
So just going to say I'm continuously bigging up that article. Carry on.
I don't normally brag about expensive places I've been, but I've just left the petrol station.
Bloody petrol. How much is it around you, love?
Oh, God. Well, last time I bought petrol, it was $1.59.50.
What the hell did you buy?
To be fair, I've completely rejected this E10 rubbish, and I'm now buying the 97%.
Okay, right. So that's self-inflicted.
Super.
That's self-inflicted agony.
But that's 154. The E10.
Your petrol is 154. Okay, maybe I'm not going to complain as much as I was going to complain. Mine is 147. I was like, what the hell?
Ooh.
I know. Like, what is going on where 147 can ever be called a good deal? Do you remember the day it broke over a pound a litre?
Oh, God. Are you going back some time? Hey, I can't remember what I said to you yesterday morning, so in fairness, no.
I was watching something. It's slightly off track. I can't remember who it was, or the name of their channel, rather. But basically, they go out into various places and they recover equipment. And this good old boy, he was talking about when he was young, and he was working down the mines. I think he was in Pittsburgh at the time.
Ooh.
And the diesel that they were able to get on site, it was something silly like 20 cents a gallon.
Wow.
It was like, holy Christ, that is cheap. That is unreal. I bet you wish you stocked up on it then, lad. But yeah, bloody petrol prices. What is happening there? Carry on, sorry.
It's just we should definitely do this. We should all just come together, and no one's voice is any better than anyone else's. There's nothing.
I don't know
to
what
be
you mean.
ashamed of.
Mine's perfect normally.
Yes, of course it is. See, now that was condescending. Just for clarification, Charity Shop Bandit says building. What a good name. Says building your own homestead would be amazing. Yes, it would. It would. And we very, very much like this idea of, we talk often about the Amish and how they've managed to successfully secure for themselves a community-based lifestyle that benefits all. Not to be confused with communism, which benefits no one. If they need to build a house for someone, they all just chip in. Everyone just goes and helps.
And they look like they have a great time as well.
Yes.
They look like they have such a fun time doing it. I'd love to join in.
And they bring the children into it. So these children are learning really essential, useful skills from, I'm going to say, an age as early as it's safe for them to hold tools, like hammers and maybe not saws, but they do bring children into it. And they teach their children this very ethical sort of principle of behavior that we all contribute. We all contribute to the work, and someone benefits from it. Let someone else trying to be clever now. Look at this. Do you see this? Do you see this? 7 minutes. 7 minutes, you say. 25. No, 5 minutes.
Oh, she's getting quicker. She's
no. Damn it, right. I'm going to ignore everyone. Quick, get to the bottom. No, it's a really interesting concept. In fact, I hate talking about these things, and someone says, "Oh, that sounds like communism." In no way, shape, or form is that communism. You can work for the good of your entire community, and genuinely want good things for it. I do like the fact that more and more people are coming towards this solution, because the reality is we are getting bogged down on this idea of individual responsibility when it comes to just ourselves and just our immediate family. We do have individual responsibility for our behaviour, but that's not the only thing we need to worry about protecting. It's not the only thing we need to worry about preserving. And this kind of life or death mandate that's been inserted into everything. Sorry, you can do things for your community that maybe have no initial benefit to you, but it will pay off in the long run. And it's the reason many of these communities start, because they're thinking outside the box. Thinking outside the box is actually the way we get through this. Everything we do right now has been inculcated into us, has been taught to us. These default positions, these default ways of thinking. We need to throw all of that away, throw it all off, and start thinking clearly for the first time ever. And that means, if you're having issues with addiction, with gambling or drugs, anything that clouds your mind, this is how they want you. Weakened, defenseless, willing to go along with anything they suggest, because you don't have the wherewithal to stand up and say, hang on, that's not right. Or, I know a better way. We do know a better way. And that's us working with each other, for each other. And we all benefit from that. And the only people that don't, for a change, is them. So everything they do right now, they have their own community. And everything they do benefits them. They do it for each other. But they don't just ignore us. They don't just pretend we don't exist. Everything they do that benefits them harms us. They're stealing from us. Every day they steal from us. A big corporation will lobby government for a law that benefits it, hurts us. Or if they lobby for, like the Green New Deal, hurts us. They have to destroy everything we are, everything we were, and everything we could become in order to be safe. And now that they've exposed their plans to some degree, they need to go a step further and be safe, not just generally, but now they have to be safe from us. And the best way to be safe from an enemy that you are attacking is to demonize it and make it the aggressor in the public mind. This is why our first and foremost principle should be, we just want to be left alone. There is nothing to attack there. And when people are talking about we can't have this or we can't have that because some people are going to do this and some, these are just excuses. We can't work with excuses anymore. We want you to visualize freedom, because we need each and every one of you to feel it. If you focus on something for long enough, you can live it. What's that saying? Fake it till you make it.
I love that phrase.
But if you live it,
it's up there with manifesting reality.
Yes, that's all fake it till you make it is. You live as though something is a reality and it becomes reality. But it means throwing off these chains that are in your mind. Because it's not our physical actions that are in chains right now. Well, it is, but it's not always been that way. Our minds have been in chains for the longest time. Free your mind, everything else will follow. Roy says we could all move to Scotland and call ourselves the Hamish.
I laughed.
Yes, thank you, Jonathan. Yes, please if you like this content, please like the stream, please follow. You know what to do. Thank you very much. We do appreciate all of your support. Right, Jordan?
Yeah.
I went on a little tangent there, so I've actually fallen behind. So now I'm at 4 minutes.
God damn it.
The gap is still closing, however. I just slowed down a bit.
Anyway, there was a thing.
Yes.
Oh, sorry, carry on. You catch up and then we can carry on.
Okay, so Void 17 says, I just got here. Will I have to be Amish? No, because we believe in the freedom to choose. It could be whatever you want. The earlier suggestion was you could be a Hamish if you want to go move to Scotland. We're not ruling anything out at this stage. Jean-Baptiste says, is the control the distrust of ourselves that we must remove? Agreed. We've got to start trusting ourselves again. We are very capable people. We are very capable people. Who convinced us that we're no good? Who convinced you that you're no good? That you're not quite good enough? That you could work harder? That you could be better? Or did anyone even bother?
Why am I getting like an inkling that this is some sort of Village People song?
Well, no, we don't have a YMCA to offer.
But I'm sure there was something like that. It was maybe, I don't know. It's not sitting in the bone well. Anyway, carry on.
So yes, I really want, I want everyone to think about who has convinced us that we're not good enough. I mean, don't get me wrong, we could all do better, be better. But who's convinced us that there's no point even trying? Because that's the real question. So it's stripping it down to the bare basics, thinking better, thinking freer. I would like to know what everyone else thinks, real quick, because we're going to move on to something else. What does everyone else think they might be doing? What is your idea of true freedom? What does it mean to you? How would you visualize it? What would you be doing this evening? Apart from putting my favourite flag on the stream. Thank you, guys. Broken Silence says, positivity is contagious, start infecting. Yes, like attracts like. So. Yeah, we've always believed this. If you're going to be negative and a doom monger, you're going to attract people who are addicted to doom. We don't want to be that way. We've been that way. That's the problem. Isn't it? Ah, thank you, Sir Francis. I do love that flag. There's a sparkly one we were showing last Christmas on DLive. We'll have to find it. So we've got to get to this point where we are thinking about what's best for ourselves. So anyway, Jordan wants to talk about an article, this fantastic article that Andrew has written. Let me just get this up on the screen. Here we go. Jordan? No, Jordan's just sent me this and disappeared.
I did not send it and disappeared. I was slowly dying by myself. Don't mind.
Ah,
what I said.
Your little baby cough is back.
Well, my voice is suddenly transmogrified into Barry White. I'm not sure what's happening.
Now you should start singing.
What was it he's saying? Let's get on, wasn't it? Let's not. No. Let's move away from that. This was meant to be a lovely background, but Soddy, take a guess who, chat, didn't download it. Anyway.
What, you didn't download it, Jordan?
Oh,
goodness sake. Weren't you prepared?
There you are. There is the link. I've just popped it in the chat.
Before you carry on, can I just quickly bring up this comment? If you want to speak to us, you can do it on our Telegram. I'll pop the link in for Telegram. 1 second. I've written this so many times over the last few days, I actually know it. This is amazing. So I can type it out. How good is that?
Bloody hell.
I don't know if it will work like this without the HTTPS. Actually, it won't, will it?
It should do. Should make any odds.
Let's do it properly anyway. There you go. So that's where you can find, that's our Telegram chat. A quick reminder, we'll say it again at the end of the stream. We're going to be on the Discord this evening following the stream. If you haven't already joined our Discord, let me quickly grab you the link for that, and then I'll pass it back to you, Jordan, while I post that.
What we're going to do is we're going to alternate between the two, because Roy had issues with Telegram last week, so we thought, okay, that does make any sense to move everyone over to a platform where they might have issues. Equally, some people aren't on Discord. So it makes sense to alternate back and forth between the two. So that's what we're going to do from now on.
Yes, indeed. So it's a fairer system. It will give people a chance who aren't on one or the other platform to ask about those platforms as well, on the one they're currently on. We thought that might be a bit more helpful. So there
Indeed.
you go. Jean-Baptiste, there is the link to our Discord. If you click on that, you can join us there. Okay, Jordan, sorry. Carry on.
Good stuff. So the talking points from this article that Andrew has written. I still have not changed talking points. That was from when I originally came up with this idea and then just put that there as a note for myself. Anyway, talking points. Everyone can read the first two. Everyone knows what's going on there. The thing that I think is really, really interesting in this article is how Andrew goes over different services we can use to start fighting back against these people. And he covers the flipping heck, I never remember the name of it. There you go. IPFS, Interplanetary File System. It sounds complicated. Kind of is a bit complicated, but in essence, it's not too frightening, in all honesty. And he does a really, really, really great job of breaking it down and explaining what it is.
Yes, he does. So we've posted the article already in the chat. Can we ask the mods to kindly post that again, please? Thank you very much. Andrew has worked incredibly hard on this, as he does with all of his articles. Very well researched. Andrew does not trust other people. Can I finish? Andrew does not trust other people who say they've done the research that he doesn't know. And quite right too. When you are claiming something as fact, you want to make sure it is indeed a fact. So for that reason, Andrew does all of his own research, which means his articles are very time consuming. So yes, can we all say thank you to Andrew for providing that? And we, of course, thank you, Andrew. We know how much time and effort you put into these articles. Much appreciated. Thank you very much. I can't believe you laughed at that.
It was the way that you said it and then paused.
Yes, it's because I could
funny.
hear. It's because I could hear a motley brewing, and I was like, "Oh, he's going to get out of his system." And I just let him do it. Right, English Bird is having a problem.
What I was going to say.
Can I tell you what the problem is, or should we just no?
Oh, fair enough. Go on.
Get into the Discord. Sorry.
I need a link. Okay, while I was doing that, the thing that I was going to say is, as has been well established, I have a serious issue moving away from Google. I don't mean to do this, but I still do it. The pre-search thing, I've been using it on my laptop for a while, basically since the last Whitling stream, and it's very pleasant. It works. It works really, really well. There's no issues with it.
Yeah.
Oh, flipping it. There you go. We both posted a link at the same time. I was trying to do that while talking, while thinking that thought through. And the reason I bring the pre-search thing up is because Andrew goes into a little bit more detail on pre-search there in the article.
Yes, he does. And just as a reminder, yes, thank you, English Will. There was an issue with Discord and various other platforms going down today.
Yes.
So that may be an issue. But that link should work. If it doesn't, please do let us know, English Bird, and we'll see if we can find a workaround.
Didn't Outlook go down as well for a little while this afternoon? Or was that yesterday?
A couple of things did. There we go. There's the link for Andrew's article. Thank you. So there you go. So go and have a look. You can also find it on wardens.community. That's all you've got to type. That will take you to our website. And yes, again, a big thank you, Andrew. A lot of time and effort goes into these articles. And it's very good of you all to show support by going and having a look and giving Andrew some feedback. And once again, if anyone has any expertise in any of the areas we cover in our articles, if you have anything you'd like to contribute, if you feel the writing bug yourself, we could always use people contributing content like articles. So please get in touch. Again, you can do that via Discord, or you can come and speak to us on our Telegram. But the more information we share, the more help and advice we share, the better off everyone in this community is. So thank you in advance. Okay. So a couple more things I want to go through tonight before we're not even close to wrapping up yet. We've still got a way to go. It's always the good stuff we save till the end. Andrew's article being point 1. Point 2, do you want to do point 2?
I'm sorry, what?
It's lovely how you're just paying attention here. We were so prepared. What happened?
What do you mean we were prepared? When am I ever prepared? Don't slander me.
Oh, that's true. I'd hate to accuse you of something.
I was busy coughing on mute. I couldn't hear you.
That's point 2. Okay, fine, I'll do it. So, next Friday.
Oh, right, that. Okay, well, I finally got there.
I just say, Jordan's not very well. I'm going to be kind to him this evening.
To be fair, I've got a lot of stuff flashing up. I've got Discord going crazy suddenly. I've got Roy talking about sandwiches. Philomena saying make me. It's weird. I don't know what's happening here. This is too much for my little sick adult brain. Leave me be.
Oh, technology overload. This is why
Look, I'm also mourning the loss of a cup. Okay, don't upset me too much.
Oh my goodness, I can't believe you brought that up on the stream.
You said I would. Anyway, Nick.
I didn't think you would though. Do you want to tell everyone about your poor cup?
Do you know what? I may leave that until Christmas. It could be like one of those sad Christmas stories.
Save a sad story for Christmas.
Yeah, well, it can't be too flip enjoyable, can it?
Actually, before we get on to point 2, should we have a little talk about December?
Oh, do you know what? We may as well.
Right, so December is going to be completely different to what we've done so far this year. It's been brought to our attention, plus we've missed it ourselves. The fun streams. Now, because of time issues, we can't stream as often as we used to, as many of you probably have noticed. But we miss the fun streams. We miss the absurd, crazy, funny streams that we used to have. So we thought for the month of December, we'd bring them back. Crazy adverts, like the PG tips, weird stories, just funny takes on everything. It's going to be very uplifting. It's going to be loads of fun. It means you can just sit back and relax on a Friday and start your weekend with us the right way. We hope everyone...
streams as well through the week.
Oh, yes. Yes, we're also going to be running, and we'll announce it next week, a competition. We mentioned it last week. We kind of had a little think about it, and we thought it was a really good idea. The competition next week, we'll give you a heads up now. We'll announce it properly next week. We want everyone to make some form, make or bake, some form of a Christmas decoration. Send in your picture to us, and we will post it up on the stream. This is not about the best one. This is about the most fun one, the most colourful one. It doesn't matter. So yes, so that's going to be our competition for next week. A Christmas decoration of any kind, something you can hang on your tree. It could be an ornament, something you hang on your door. Doesn't matter. Just something fun and Christmassy. So there you go. So can we have a 1 in the chat if you are happy to get off the serious stuff for the month of December and just have fun on a Friday night? We've certainly missed it. And we really enjoyed it last Christmas. We may, on that note as well, have to do 1 or 2 D-Live exclusives because we're definitely going to have a carol night, are we not?
Yes.
And just in case you all panic, it won't be us singing. We mean actual...
This is why it has to be on D-Live. YouTube bans all war crimes.
No, it will actually be real songs. I do hope we can find the original version of that particular song where they've changed the words. The words which were so offensive to many while WAP was number 1 in the charts.
Oh,
Everyone,
you mean that song?
everyone knows the song I mean.
Okay, yeah, the Toothless Irishman.
Yes. Well, not necessarily toothless, but the ones
Oh,
he had
come
did
on, he had one.
snaggletooth. The one he had wasn't much cop, was it? Let's be fair. Can we swear it's Christmas after all?
No.
There's a song called "What Christmas Means to Me." I think that might be a quiz. I want to see what you think you should do because it's Christmas. Christmas song parodies. Well, I tell you something. I was quite impressed with Jordan's lyrics. Maybe not the delivery so much. I'm going to ask him to write that down. Maybe one
It
of
was
you can
just the
put
one
some
thing that
music to
needed
it.
a little bit of work on it.
There you go. So thank you all for the ones. I think it's unanimous. Anyone who didn't vote, it's tough. Basically, you had a choice to vote, and yes. So we thought fun. So next week is our last serious stream. I mean, it's still going to be uplifting. It's still going to be very much community focused.
It is entirely community focused, as it will be an interview.
Yes, it
The
will.
founder of a community in Wiltshire, where you can ask him anything about how they got started, who they're working with, and solutions for the future. If you do want to send any questions to us prior to the stream, please do so at the Telegram chat, which I'm now going to pop into chat. Although Jo could type it, she showed off earlier on. She remembers this thing. There you go.
So yes, you've already seen the links for the Telegram chat and the Discord. So yes, just to clarify, you sound a bit quiet there. Just to clarify,
Excuse me?
you were a bit quiet reading that out.
Is that better?
Whoa! Turn it down. My poor ears. Sorry, everyone. Apologies. Yes, so just in case you missed that, we do have a special guest. We do have a special guest next week, someone who has started their own community from scratch, and they want to help you to start your community or join one. So we're going to go through as many aspects of starting this up as possible. So if you want to know how they did it, if you want to know why they did it, and if you want to know what it means to be free, this person can answer those questions. So if everyone wants to send any questions to us in advance, you can via the two methods I've just mentioned, or you can ask them on the stream live. So that's next week's stream. Community founder, ask me anything. There you go.
For the remainder of this stream, we will indeed be talking about last week's food challenge.
Yes, we will. I'm going to try.
The video again. Will it stutter? Will it splatter? Will it get there?
I'm going to try, team, but the reality is this may or may not work. Are you ready?
Indeed.
Let's try. Nope, I still got just a purple screen with the question at the end. We're going to have to make this longer, or
it's
have
not
a
even
longer
a case
intro.
of making it longer. This is Restream's issue. It runs just fine.
I wouldn't know. Can anyone tell me what's at the start of that video? Because I haven't seen it for ages.
I might host next week's stream, and we see how it goes.
Oh, I see. Now he's starting. Don't you talk about my mother. Now genuinely, he's starting up on my internet now. I've got a sinking suspicion that your hamster-fed internet is actually better than mine right now.
I doubt it. Oh, Boudica said it worked.
Oh, hang on.
Sir Francis said it worked. Heck yeah.
Saw all of it. I got purple lettuce. It worked. I see.
Lettuce. Yeah, that's basically.
I see cabbages. Is that the tagline for a new movie? Good evening. Just finished a meeting. English weather. I hope it went well.
Hopefully so. It's a bit late to be finishing reading. Bloody hell, mate.
I hope it was a community meeting. Hint, hint. A row of lettuce. Freedom challenge at the start. So you are all seeing it. Well, that's something. We're not, but as long as you are. Yeah, could be lettuce. Could be.
It's very, very anticlimactic for us.
It is. It's like, well, I just tuned in too late. Okay, so the challenge. Dun, dun, dun.
Last week's food prep challenge was tin fruit / desserts. How did we all get on with that?
Yes. we keep talking about the sort of basics, and we're talking about preparing meals and having the goods for meals. But, many of us have children. We can't just be all
Many of us
boring all
are
the time.
children.
Indeed. So, yes. So you've eaten them already, English bird. Not quite the point, but I hope you enjoyed them. So did everyone buy a few bits and pieces? There we go. Fruit cocktail, says English. Oh, no, that wasn't you.
Nice.
I do apologise.
That's the charity shop bandit.
Yes, it was. Sorry, it jumped. Well, unfortunately, it's an entire video. It's all built into the audio. Oh, if you're talking about Jordan changing it, start the music a second before the video.
It does function on a functioning computer.
Again, my computer's under attack. My step does not mean says I completely forgot about it. No.
You're going to be out of like your tinned pineapple now, mate. What are you going to do?
Exactly. How on earth will you recover?
5 tins of rice pudding. Now we're talking. Rice pudding's great.
Very
you
nice.
Hate rice pudding, don't you?
No, I love rice pudding.
Really? I'm surprised. It's rice. You hate rice.
But it's rice pudding.
But it's basically rice and milk.
It's not basically rice and milk. You put it together and magic occurs. It's rice pudding. It's magic. Boudica says I have canned cherry pie filling and canned strawberries and syrup. That sounds amazing. We know that you'll make some pastry and make something amazing with that.
And then you could do the drying up with one of your one of your weave cloth things.
I feel like Boudica could be like the old grannies that knit the cereal.
Knit cereal? What the hell?
It's an advert. Oh, this has to go on our advert list. Yeah, she's so clever.
I forgot about this.
She's so clever. I literally believe at this point she could knit food. Oh, that sounds nice, Sir Francis. He's got tin raspberries and blackberries. Veg next week, probably carrots. Well done.
Yeah, no,
completely out of order, but as long as you're buying it. Again, this is a list. It is an arbitrary list we've made to just keep this in your mind, to remind you every time you go shopping, it might be worth, if it's in your budget, if it's convenient, picking up a few extra bits. That's all this is. So yeah, you can buy these in any order. There are many of you already fully stocked and don't need this list at all. But we still thank you for playing along. We still thank you for taking part. Except, of course, yes, Boudica is not an old granny. Just for clarification, she is not. She is very youthful.
She is indeed.
And incredibly talented. How could one look at this and deny it? Look at that. Yeah. Woohoo! That is amazing. Just amazing. Now, these did not exist a few days ago. She has made these. She's made these in the last week. And
as I said, this is all basically off the back of less than 2 weeks of learning.
Yes.
It's genuinely incredible from that perspective. Going from nothing at all, never using it, to this within 2 weeks.
Yeah, because the loom is basically brand new insofar as she's had it for hardly any time at all.
Mm-hmm.
And she has plodded away at this and she's like, I'll get the hang of it. She's basically taught herself. This is truly amazing. She's very, very clever.
It's still got that new loom smell.
Well, we don't have smelly vision, so you have to take our word for it. But yes, just amazing. Just amazing. This just goes to show it's not opportunities necessarily that are holding us back. It's belief in ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to do something and it's within your means, the only thing stopping you is you. Give it a try. It might look rubbish. It might look amazing. But if you don't try, you'll never know.
Exactly.
I do agree, Will. Absolutely. It looks good enough to be selling for a really amazing price. This is as good as anything I've ever seen being sold anywhere else.
They're great.
Here we go. It's a question for the chat. I know what keto is. I don't follow that diet, so I couldn't just off the top of my head name anything. Keto-friendly foods, Tom is asking. Does anyone have any ideas for keto-friendly foods that Tom could stock up on? He's buying tins that he hopes to never eat.
That is a really excellent question.
It is. Is anyone else on the keto diet right now, or have been looking at keto-based recipes that can make suggestions here?
I would imagine, having no knowledge of it at all, you'd be looking at things like canned meat.
It's basically, it's proteins, very little carbs, although keto has variations. You can go carb free, you can have 5 days protein, 2 days carbs, you can play around with it. Here we go. Oh, here's a good one from Will. I don't know if this is something you were thinking of, if you're talking about long life, Tom, but Will's saying he just got some fantastic keto protein powder, and it's on our Discord if you want to get the information there. English Weather says, I do the hay diet. I've not heard of that. Xanth and Andrew are suggesting tinned peas and beans. Reboot Needed is suggesting, it's jumping all over the place, I do apologise, suggesting Brazil nuts and walnuts are keto friendly. There you go. Tons of chili, says Will. Is that the seafood and I eat it diet? I think most of us have engaged in that one at some time or another. There you go. Tom, we hope that those are good suggestions to get you started. That's what we're talking about. The taste good diet. It's one of those things now, isn't it? That, there are so few pleasures in life. If you're eating food you don't like, you're doing it wrong. I'll let you read this one out. This is from Johnny, not Powell.
Have you heard of the new squirrel diet? It's nuts.
But I hate waste. I think this ultimately comes back to childhood, where we're told not to waste any food because of starving Africans or something. That was what I was told as a child. There are children starving. Can't waste any food.
That was very much something that my mother told me as well, and I always found it funny. Even as a child, it was amusing.
I just wish that I wasn't given food that was inedible. Well, I was told this. It was a bit of a set me up to fail kind of deal. But English Weather says you don't mix carbs and first class proteins. Been on it for years. Works brilliant. Food is supposed to digest more quickly. English Weather, I'd be very interested to know what you mean by first class proteins. Could you list them out somewhere, or maybe post an article on the Discord?
I have a feeling this is something we should do on a stream one day.
We definitely should.
Like, loads of people are into this. Not just keto specifically, but just different sorts of diets. Yeah, exactly.
Well, do you remember I said to you the other day I saw a video, and it was a video of one man hosting a stream or a live chat, saying, asking a question, saying, which conspiracy theories do you believe in? Yeah. And the response was, well, I don't think it's a conspiracy theory, but I want to talk about corn. Cows have 4 stomachs. We're not supposed to eat corn. You go to a restaurant, you get corn. You go to the loo, you see corn.
Yep.
I think it's a really poignant point to make, that we are eating foods that we are not designed to eat.
Oh, absolutely. Hardly anything is meant to eat corn, really.
And when you think about what corn is introduced into, all the products.
Petrol.
Well, I don't know anyone who's drinking petrol. I hope no.
I'm just saying it's there and it upsets me.
But seriously, I think we're eating a lot of food that we're not just supposed to digest. So yes, that would be very interesting anyway, English Weather, if you would be kind enough to share anything you know. We want to get everyone healthy, as well as happy and prosperous and secure. So
next week's prepping challenge.
Yes, so next week we want to focus on dried goods.
This is where the big boys come out to play. This is things like dried rice and pasta. Why I specified dried rice, as if anyone's buying like wet rice, I don't know. But this This is keep your wet rice to yourself. This is when you're buying your bags of rice and your pasta and your good things like that. Beans are a different category altogether. They are special and deserve their own place.
Oh God, the beans.
The beans will save us. Mark my words.
Anyone who knows Jordan knows that he is obsessed with beans.
I
What
like beans. Beans are great.
English Will? Why Jordan has a smirk? It's like you're sitting in front of him.
Because he knows beans. He knows they're coming up. He knows the excitement levels are going to rise and rise and rise for that stream.
Yes, only for you, dear. Reboot Needed says, talking about diets, have you heard of the 100-mile diet, where you try to eat only food grown/produced within 100 miles of you? That's a really good idea. That's catchy enough that it would be something infinitely shareable. It pretty much does what it says on the tin, right? That's
It is
a
a really good idea, just from the health perspective of it.
It is.
That you're eating foods that you're basically meant to be eating anyway. It's a great idea.
We are proponents of localism. And that we spoke with Boudica at some length about this when she was last on the show. And we were talking about, you have a gut biome, and that everyone's body is, and everyone's physical manifestation is a product of their environment. And so that's why when you eat spicy food, for instance, if you haven't historically been in that part of the world, you're going to have problems with digestion. So it's really important to understand this, and it's nothing to do with being exclusionary or anything else. As Europeans, we have grown up in a certain climate. We have eaten certain foods all of our lives. Our ancestors have eaten certain foods, and we can easily digest certain foods. We have adapted to what we can grow around our local area. So yeah, it's a really important thing to consider when you're buying food, and when you're storing food, and when you're cooking food. We are a product of our environment. I know I keep saying this over and over again, but it's really important that we understand this is just a fact. And it's true. We like truth. Truth is fun. Okay, so that is next week. Dried goods. Rice pasta, you mentioned beans, Jordan. Anything else? Can anyone else think of dried foods that they might include on this list?
Do things like sugar count or not?
Well, they do. I suppose they would fall into a different category. Would sugar be a condiment? I've often wondered. It's something you generally add to food as well as include in the process.
Oh, lentils, yes. I like that one, Tash.
Yeah, couscous. I miss, what was the one above lentils? Oh, pasta we've covered, yeah. Couscous. Beef jerky. I've never had beef jerky, so I can't actually speak for how nice or satisfying or filling it is.
It's incredibly tasty.
Is it?
It's so good, but so expensive.
Well, maybe that's something people can make. Flour. We're definitely going to cover the basic ingredients. We were talking about this when we first put this list together. Your basic sort of pantry ingredients for baking should be their own subdivision. Things like flour, yeast, even when you cover things like dairy, a lot of this is crossover, we know. But if you are a regular baker, or if you want to get into baking, we'll certainly put together a bit of a shortlist for your baking ingredients. Although again, it won't be comprehensive because it depends on the recipe and where in the world you live and what you can access.
I must interrupt, and I don't care. Johnny Not Powers said, I snorted curry powder once. It nearly put me in a coma.
That's so good. Roy says, we Northerners are perfectly adapted to the eating of the pie in a coat in the rain. I can't find anything there to disagree with. DJ Mark says pulses.
A pulse is not lentils. Are they beans?
He's not claiming they're lentils.
No, I'm just
I don't
wondering.
think.
I'm wondering. I'm confused. I'm confusing myself here.
It's a weird name for a collection of. They're like. Are they seed? No, I don't know now. I don't use the word pulse in any way, shape, or form in my everyday life.
Maybe it's because you're not a nurse.
Ha ha ha. If I was a nurse, I'd be one of the good ones, just saying. The charity shop banner, yes, honey. Honey would be included in your basic sort of baking
But
pantry.
it's not. It's not of the variety of beans and pasta, which is what we were originally dealing with. You're changing the board, love.
Yeah,
It's
that's
cheating.
true. That's true. Yeah, let's stick to what we're talking. Yes, herbs, Tom. That's a good one. There is nothing wrong with dried herbs if you cannot get fresh or grow fresh.
Dry your own herbs.
Even better.
Heck yeah, do some dried like rosemary or something.
Corn flour. I mean, yes, if you're in a position to buy flour, I would certainly stock up on flour. Again, if you're going to be baking or you are a baker, does flour really have a shelf life? I don't think so. Not plain flour anyway. Not for basic things. It's just milled grain. It's milled to the point where there's nothing of value left in it, right? It's a bulk, isn't it? Quinoa. Never had quinoa. Honestly,
Quite decent.
Sounds a bit pretentious.
Do you know? I'm surprised you were able to say it properly.
Only because I've heard pretentious people talk about it.
Do you know what? I always thought it was called quinoa.
Well, the first time I saw it written down, I thought it was called quinoa. What a stupid way to
Yes.
spell a word.
Yes, that's the only logical way to say this word. I said quinoa for years until somebody corrected me. And then I said quinoa anyway.
So you're more posh than I am then, because I only heard about quinoa last year.
Yeah, you were late on the quinoa bandwagon, love.
It's because I stopped watching television, you see. I'm just not getting any of this broken culture anymore. And my goodness, do I love it.
The latest hotness in the food world.
English Bird says, we're all going to walk in our kitchen in 5 minutes. 5 minutes after the stream, go, oh my God, that's dried food. I wish I remembered that. Yeah, so again, dried food is one of those, it's probably the largest collection of food for us to include. So I would say, again, as always, buy things you're going to eat. There's no point just thinking, oh, I'll give that a try if it just happens to be there. It's completely pointless if it's not going to benefit you. I will say, though, if you end up overdoing it on something and you maybe have a friend or a neighbour who's also doing the prep challenge or prepping in any way, shape or form, maybe you can trade. There you go. Oats, English Bird says, yes, oats, another good one. You can make all kinds of cakes and various meals with oats, aside from, of course, fantastic porridge. Muesli.
Oh, you can make the best apple crumble.
Yes. And you can make oat bars. You can make like little breakfast bars, but homemade ones. Oats and honey and tinned all day breakfast. I bought, what did I buy for my tin meat? What did I say? Irish stew. I've bought some chili. I prefer to make these things from scratch, but we are talking about some kind of situation occurring where we can't get access to fresh food for whatever reason. So, again, there may be a lot of purists here in the chat who think, oh, well, if it's not fresh, I don't really want it. I'm of the same mind, but I would rather have it tinned than not have it at all. Simple as that. Coffee and tea, yes. That was going to be its own separate section. But again, if you're in a position to stock up, this list does not mean, you can only buy something that we've mentioned this week. I mean, go nuts. If you can afford to buy these things.
This is a dictatorship. Well, we're not putting up with any of this weak willed lily liver nonsense. The thing this week, what was it this week, Joe? This week it was rice and pasta. Go out, buy some rice, buy some pasta. You buy lentils, you're dead to me.
Wow. Just wow. English Bird says oats and water in the fridge overnight. I'm right. I'm a bit of a purist when it comes to porridge. Can't make it with water. I'm sorry, just no. Has to be milk.
It's like putting salt in it. No.
Exactly. Yeah.
It's got to be milk. It's got to be nice and creamy and yummy and filling.
Thing is, if you add salt, you have to balance it out with sugar, or you could just go au naturel and just not add either, and
No,
then
you've
you've
got to
got.
put honey in it.
Why do I have to?
Because it's good.
I don't want to.
Did you not just hear me say this is a dictatorship?
But I'm choosing to ignore it.
I don't know how I feel about that. I'll send the police after you.
Or to quote you earlier, no.
Oh, don't use that on me.
There you go. What about toiletries, etc.? Yes, HASDAC would definitely be covering those. Toiletries are obviously important. And we're not talking about luxury items here either. We're talking about all of it. We've got to start stocking up on these things. And again, this is why we're saying don't just stick to the list that we give you, because it's going to be very, very slow going. We're going to keep doing the prep challenge all through December, by the way. And we know that as Christmas approaches, anyone on a tight budget is going to start feeling the pinch, because you may be, as many of us do, buying extra things because it's Christmas. And at Christmas, you want to have nice things. You want to have treats because it's once a year, and why not? You deserve the right to do that whenever you want. But Christmas is a special time of year for many of us, for all of us, I hope. So yes, of course, when money starts to get tight, then you may have to choose between one or the other, which is why we're suggesting, in all seriousness, tyranny notwithstanding, if you can pick up anything you like and get a few extra tins or packets or whatever of it, then please do so. Anything, tinned or jarred or pickled, it doesn't matter. We'll work through the list, but whatever you can have, whatever you can get now, please feel free to go and get it. This is for you, Jordan. Live Free says the Christmas themed background is beautiful.
Thank you.
That is a lovely thing to say, but let me just tell you now, you ain't seen nothing yet. Jordan's got something really special planned for the December streams.
Planned is the key word.
And a reminder for anyone who missed the beginning, this is little, what's his name?
What, the bee?
Santy Bee.
Santy Bee! Heck yeah.
This is Santy Bee bringing Christmas in. We're not there yet.
Absolutely. Look at him. He's on his little sled. He's got his little hat. You can see he's pulled it up over his eye. He's popped his antennas out. He's cut little holes in it. He's good to go.
Yeah, he's
ready.
there.
He's full of beans. Look at him.
I'm so glad no one's noticed that the bee is much larger than the reindeer. Oh, did I say that out loud? My bad. The charity shop
comment is so good.
The charity shop bandit says, we're all raiding the cupboard straight after this stream. It's really a good idea to take an inventory on a serious note. Take an inventory. It's amazing how many things you think you have. And then you go and check the dates and find out that much of it is inedible, or it's been left opened, or it's the packet had a tear in it. Right, I'm catching up again. Sorry. Are we all getting hungry? Says English Bird. Pet food, says Tom Peace. We're going to move on to that. Don't you worry.
Oh, God.
Here we go. I'm trying to find it. Pop-Tarts. I wouldn't say nutritionally very good, but hey-ho, whatever you enjoy.
Okay, you have paid stepdad for this comment. I know you have.
Hang on.
Get on the jotting of pounds. So
right, good. Hang on a second. I'm getting there. Getting there. Would it be this one, perchance? Male bees die after mating. That's basically their entire lives. Honey Nut Cheerio. Yes, spices, Boudica. Well said. Yes, we talked about herbs, spices. Again, these things don't really... I know they have dates on them. That's a marketing ploy, like your 5 a day is a marketing ploy to get you to eat more of something. A lot of these things with dates on them, I wouldn't say ignore the dates. Like if your milk's lumpy and there are things floating in it, it's clearly off.
Yeah, if your milk has turned into yogurt.
What I'm saying is use your senses. It's what we always relied on before these arbitrary dates were put on things. If something smells fresh, then keep using it. If meat smells fresh, keep using it. I noticed this with milk. I was lucky enough to get my hands on a brand new freezer a couple of years ago.
Combine harvester.
It's genuinely, it's not something I really can afford very often to buy a new appliance. I love this fridge freezer. It's super efficient, and I've noticed since I've had it, everything lasts much longer. But that's not the reason I mention it. I'm not bragging about it. It's a rarity for me. I'm very lucky to have it. What I've started doing is I've been keeping an eye on the date on my milk. My milk is now being thrown away approximately 10 to 12 days after the date it says I should. So if you are still throwing things away based on the arbitrary labeling, just please stop. Please stop, because it's just designed. It's a marketing ploy to get you to throw things away and replace them. There's so much food we probably waste because we think the date is some kind of law. It's just not. Thanks, Philomena. That sounds disgusting. Don't drink chunky milk. Yes, if you eat it and it makes you sick, it's probably off. Okay. Oh, chew it. Xanth, that's disgusting. If you're chewing your milk, I'm going to say it's time to throw it out. Just putting that out there. Right.
I don't know what you mean. It's turned into a yogurt bowl.
Yes. Oh, this is a good comment from Wesley. Welcome, Wesley. Who says they even put dates on absurd things like table salt and vinegar. We use vinegar to preserve. Yeah, exactly. We use vinegar to preserve other foods. These things just do not go off. I suppose eventually they could if they're stored in the right conditions for it. But again, trust your senses. Trust yourself. It comes back to everything in life. If we had spent the last 20, 30 years trusting ourselves, we wouldn't be in this mess. It's time to start trusting yourself. And an extension of that is your family, and an extension of that is your community. We need to start being around people who we trust again. But each individual within that group needs to trust themselves. When you trust yourself, you hold yourself to account. If I'm saying don't look at the dates, trust your own instinct, you are now responsible for making sure you don't poison anyone or yourself. We've got to start taking responsibility for these things again. We do not need people to tell us when our milk is off, for goodness sake. We're not children. And frankly, I find that offensive and insulting. And I'm sure you all agree. We are more than capable. Our ancestors used to go and hunt. They used to hunt things with claws and teeth. But we need someone to tell us when our milk is off. Absolutely ridiculous. So be men, even the women. Be men. Do it now. I'm joking. Don't do that. There's a word for that. We don't like it. Okay, so a quick reminder then. So next week's prepping challenge. Oh, we got next week's prepping challenge. What was next week's? It was the condiments, wasn't it?
No. Yes, I don't remember what next week's is. No, wait, this week's is the rice and pasta. We're coming to next week's next week. Don't spoil the game.
Oh, all right. So you're not going to get a heads up anymore?
No.
So next week's challenge, we're going to tell them about it on Friday and hope they've done it.
No. Next week's challenge is the rice and pasta.
Oh, that's right. This week's challenge was the tin fruit.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Whatever Jordan's got, it's clearly just contagious. So a quick recap then. So we want you to buy your dried goods for next week and anything else you want. Well done for everyone who's been keeping up the prepping challenge. Doesn't matter what you've been buying, as long as you have been in that mindset where you are not relying on someone else to save the day. That's the key. Next Friday, again, quick reminder, we're going to have an Ask Me Anything about community building. You're going to speak to a bona fide, genuine community builder, someone who created a community, can answer all your questions, have those questions ready on the stream, or if you want to send them in advance, if you won't be here live, please send them to myself and Jordan or anyone on the team. You can use the Telegram chat, or you can do this on the Discord. Don't forget to check the website where Andrew's fantastic article is. It's wardens.community, really easy to remember. Please like and share the content. Please follow if you can follow with any other groups you're in. Networking means, and it's a good practice for real life communities, it means sharing online as well as offline. It means sharing what you know. It means talking to people. We've got to start creating networks. We need safety in numbers. So yes, please do that. Thank you as always for your contributions to the stream. Really some great comments tonight. We do appreciate them. And we will be chatting in the Warden Social in about 5 minutes' time. As you can hear, my voice is going. Sorry, yes, on the Discord. Just randomly. The Warden Social, where is it?
Yes.
Yes.
On Discord tonight, and then next week back on Telegram, and then vice versa.
Yes. So we'll keep alternating between the two. My voice is going, as you can hear. Jordan's went a long time ago.
Indeed.
So we're going to say goodnight. Thank you always. Have a great Friday. Those of you who have the ability to stick around, we will be talking to you very soon.
Indeed. Bye for now.
Take care, everyone. Good night.